Dear students, today I am going to discuss something about free trade policy. Free trade policy is the policy of non interference by the government in foreign trade. In case of free trade policy, you can see absence of tariff, quantitative restrictions, exchange control, etc. In other words, free trade implies complete freedom in international exchange. Classical economists like Adam Smith, Ricardo, and others pleaded for free trade policy for the welfare of the world. Now let us discuss something about advantages of free trade policy or argument in favor of free trade policy. First argument in favor of free trade policy put forward by classical economists like Adam Smith, David Ricardo, and others, that is, comparative cost advantage. In case of free trade policy, we can reap the benefit of comparative cost advantage and division of labor. Second argument in favor of free trade policy, that is, more factor earnings. Under free trade, factors of production will also be able to earn more as they will be employed for better use. Hence, wages, interest, and rent will be higher under free trade than otherwise. Third merit of free trade policy, that is cheaper imports. Free trade procures import at cheap rates. It seems to be an attractive argument in favor of trade, at least from the customer's point of view. And fourth argument in favor of free trade policy, that is enlarged market. Free trade widens the size of the market, as a result of which greater specialization and a more complex division of labor become possible. This brings about optimum production with costs reduced everywhere, benefiting the world as a whole. And next advantage of free trade policy, that is competition. Free trade policy encourages competition from abroad, which induces domestic producers to become more alert and improve their efficiency. Nowadays, you can see efficiency even in case of less developed country like India, mainly because of this LPG policy. Another argument in favor of free trade policy, that is restricted exploitation. Free trade prevents growth of domestic monopolies and consumers' exploitation due to competition from abroad. This free trade policy is always advantageous to the consumers. And in case of free trade policy, you can see greater welfare. Free trade permits large varieties of consumption goods and improve consumers' welfare. Haberler concludes that international trade has made a tremendous contribution to the development of less developed countries in the 19th and 20th century and can be expected to make in the future if it is allowed to proceed freely. But at the same time, free trade policy is not free from demerits. Many economists put forward argument against free trade policy. They are as follows. First one is free trade policy runs smoothly if all countries follows the same. If one country adopts free trade policy and another country, if they go for protection, then a lot of confusion will be there. And second one is free trade may prove advantageous to developed and technologically advanced nations, but less developed countries are certainly at a disadvantage on account of unfavorable terms of trade. Third one is competition induced under free trade is unfair and unhealthy. Backward countries cannot compete with advanced countries. So this is another demerit of free trade policy. And next one is gain of free trade are not equally distributed under free trade due to unequal state of development of different countries. Last one is a country with unfavorable balance of payment finds it difficult to overcome this situation under free trade policy. Free trade may encourage interdependence and discourage self sufficiency, but in the matter of defense, each country should have self sufficiency, self reliance as far as possible. So, this is about various disadvantage of free trade policy. Free trade policy has been abandoned by all countries of the world, especially in 20th century, especially after post World War. Many countries abandoned free trade policy and they resorted to protection policy mainly because of the following reasons. Under the system of free trade, the underdeveloped countries suffer very much in comparing with advanced countries. So this is the first reason. Second one is government under free trade observed political handicaps due to economic interdependence. Nowadays, economic interdependence is inevitable. And next one is countries cannot allow free import of injurious and harmful products, and hence trade restrictions are necessaries. Next one is free trade led to cutthroat competition in the world market so that exporters resorted to dumping which no government can allow beyond a limit. Thus, restrictions become inevitable. And last one is backward countries have to protect their infant industries and hence cannot adopt the policy of the free trade. So, this is about various advantages and disadvantages of free trade policy. But right now, once again, we are moving towards protection policy to LPG policy, that is liberalization, privatization, and globalization. It is nothing but another form of free trade policy only. Thank you for listening.